Hi everyone, and welcome to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K Laidlaw. Wendy has spent the last 2 years helping women with various stages of endometriosis to heal naturally after putting her condition into remission. After her own healing success from stage 4 endometriosis and adenomyosis, she's inspired to heal others, and her goal is to help some of the 175 million women know that there is another way other than painkillers, drugs, or surgery. This is the place to be for real talk with real people for real results, so you can learn how to heal your endometriosis naturally. Please note that the opinions expressed in this program may represent options, but are not a substitute for proper medical care. Before starting any new healthcare program, we recommend you consult with a health professional.
Hey everyone, it's Wendy K Laidlaw here, and as always, I do hope that this message finds you well. Today, we're going to be talking about how to heal a hurt heart. Now, the world we live in is a beautiful, beautiful place in many ways, and it's obviously filled with endless joys, but it often doesn't always feel that way. When you keep your heart closed for protection, a sense of sadness and loneliness sometimes sets in. Yet the flipping and flopping back and forth from opening and closing your heart can become exhausting and draining. When your heart has only experienced and known pain in your life, then it can be hard to appreciate it, the beauty, the joys, and experience any form of real pleasure. When this pain comes from the very people that you were told should be safe, aka parents, family members, partners, close friends, etc., it becomes hard to trust anyone and open your heart. How are you expected to trust anyone when you have been shown repeatedly that you cannot even trust those close to you? I always say, is it any wonder people are confused when they have been abused? So after experiencing hurt, you naturally pull back and retreat from people for protection. But this is where the challenge comes in. You pull back for protection and close off your heart. Yet two of the most central aspects of life is connection and meaningful relationships. So what you do is necessary in the situation you're in, but it comes at a cost. Often when people or someone is protecting their heart, they may feel they're doing themselves a service, but it's very possible that they are actually suffocating and hurting themselves even more. I recall a session many years ago with my coach. I was asked to close my eyes and visualize what my heart looked like. It felt an odd thing to do, to close one's eyes and go inward. I still struggled to do that at that particular point of my journey. At this time, though, I was at my sickest, physically and emotionally. So in my mind's eye, I was shocked when I closed my eyes to look inside and see that actually my heart felt like it was barely beating. It looked discoloured, bruised, scarred, battered, dark, and locked in this heavy metal cage with thick metal bars and very little light. It was almost dead, yet ironically expertly protected behind this impenetrable cage. My heart felt like it was slowly dying and shrivelling up from the lack of joy, laughter, and creativity. My heart felt battered from being around people who were never happy, always complaining and shaming, and they sucked at my soul with their toxic energy. My heart hurt from the kicks, the letdowns, the disappointments, the lashes, the bashes, the splashes it had endured for decades, as I didn't know how to protect myself from others' venom. I didn't even think that that was okay to do so. My heart hurt to be made out to be weird or different, when in fact one was unique and had a superpower of supersensitivity. Still, I wished to expand beyond the cage, to enjoy the joyous and the glorious and the beautiful elements of life, but I was fearful of adding more damage and hurt to it. But here was the issue. All the advice and messaging I was receiving was isolated around the extremes of all or nothing. On some people's advice, it was best that I completely shut off from everyone and severed all my relationships. Then on the other end of the spectrum, I was encouraged to turn the other cheek, open up my heart and be vulnerable. But as is often the case with extremes, neither did me much good, and more harm, to be honest. I gradually realised that there was a middle ground between being completely closed to others and completely open and vulnerable. I didn't want to go from the chip pan into the fire anymore. How do you heal your heart and begin to open it up whilst ensuring that it is protected and safe? How do you even start that journey? What are the steps? The short answer is slowly. Very, very slowly. It takes tiny steps using the right information, common sense, and excellent tools with a good dose of protective mechanisms. By being able to ensure an appropriate state-of-the-art internal personal security system is installed in your mind, life, emotions, and body, then it enables you to notice when and if you've been activated or triggered or disturbed by words or actions of another person, or indeed the lack of words or actions of another. My new personal internal security system has enabled a feeling of being able to unlock the cage that my heart sat in and enter the world with proper protection and knowing what an appropriate boundary is and how to install it. I learned to approach the world in a more educated and realistic way, for to assume everyone is nice is naive and is certain to put you in harm's way unless you stay fully awake and aware. I learned to stop romanticising people that used to hurt me. It hurt my heart to see certain people as they truly were and not how I wished or wanted them to be. When an internal personal security system was installed, it allowed me time to tune in, to breathe, to see people, places and things for who and what they really were and not how I wished they would be. Once a boundary or alarm sensor has been installed, nice people will accept it and respect it. However, other characters and personality types may well push and push and push against your new boundaries. So, how to ensure that they are retained and remain firm and uncrushable for protection? Much like in the story, The 3 Little Pigs. In this fun little fable, 3 pigs build their houses of different materials. A big bad wolf comes along and huffs and it puffs and it blows down the first 2 pigs' houses, which are made of straw and sticks. But the big bad wolf is unable to destroy the 3rd pig's house that is made of bricks and, of course, boundaries. You will learn how to build a house built with bricks and boundaries along with an internal alarm system that is impenetrable from toxic others. This fortified safe house will protect you and work with your instincts and intuition so no one and nothing can blow your house down or hurt your heart anymore. The danger with outdated cultural beliefs and ideals is that they don't work in our modern rat race and dog-eat-dog world, aka what I call the dominator world. In the golden olden days when our ancestors were living in small villages and tending to our fields and cattle and all knew each other in a small community, it was much more realistic to assume safety and trust of others. Small communities kept certain personalities in check. They were kept accountable and responsible for their unruly, angry or sociably unacceptable behaviour. That is clearly much harder these days. There appears to be a growing number of entitled or poor me or toxic personality types visible, whom I witness trample over nice, caring, big-hearted women and may often stop at nothing to achieve their goal, even if that means hurting them. Is it any wonder so many women wander around with a big heart locked away, aching at the idea of being able to open it and connect and be joyful? But since the reality of life, and I've not been able to, and though we've not been taught how to learn the tools to protect glorious heart. So how do you get information? Well, as I said, awareness is half the battle. Awareness can only happen by paying attention to one's feelings and emotions, by engaging in awareness tools like writing down your thoughts and putting pen to paper. You might learn perhaps that a friend has a very different definition of friendship to you, or that a parent is not as protective of you as you would have thought, or that a partner's behaviour just keeps getting worse or is not the way that you would like them to be. When one starts to recognise the hurts of the heart and that people do not live up to their expectations, then one can start to grieve the loss of the illusion. It is much better for the heart to see someone for how they are, not how you wish them to be. The reality may be uncomfortable, especially if the said person has passed on the responsibility of their behaviour onto you and blamed you and shamed you for their behaviour. But realise that responsibility and blame is not yours to carry. It crushes your heart. External shame projected by another onto you is a highly effective and poisonous tool to control you. If you are a super sensitive person, then you may have tried eagerly to help or fix the other. However, now you realise that what you did was never good enough and could never be good enough. I have talked about this in a previous podcast of stranger danger, where children are taught not to engage with strangers or people they don't know at all. But what about people that you do know really well, who continue to hurt and harm you, no matter how many times you ask them to stop? This can be hard to untangle yourself from, especially if there's a subconscious trauma bond there. But going back to those people, even if you know them, is like sticking your finger in the fire time and time again, but expecting it not to be burnt and a different outcome. Those leopards won't change their spots. Forcing a relationship to improve or change feels easier, but requires a significant amount of energy. Alternatively, grieving the loss or the idea of that person, and perhaps letting them go, blessing them and releasing them, is often the healthiest and least energy-draining approach. By learning who you are at your core, separating from parents, peers and partners your thoughts and your feelings and ideas, they allow then you to shine some light into who you are, not what's been projected onto you, and allows the beginning of healing of the heart to happen. Nowadays, so many women are totally frazzled, exhausted and burnt out every single day. Women wake up, even if they've slept at all, and turn the key on to their full throttle life, and off they go into the fast lane, fighting traffic, people, places, things, noise, constant stimulation, pressure and projections, and of course the social media airbrushed images and expectations put upon you, etc. Only to come home after a full day of caffeine, cakes and crisps, burnt out physically and emotionally. Questioning occasionally, what's that all about? The better, faster, more brigade. That is until the body screams the women to a halt by inflicting pain in their body to get their attention. Your head may feel heavy, your shoulders rounded, and your heart aching for a different pathway, but you don't know where to begin. You may have tried lots of different courses or tried to numb yourself out with distractions or busyness or workaholism or even extreme and exhausting people-pleasing. You may have tried to rationalize the craziness of others and the perpetual exhaustion in your life. You may have tried desperately to understand a particular person, a parent, a partner who makes no sense to you. And your heart feels drained and pained and safer locked in a cage away for protection. But your heart and soul and spirit need light. They need safe love. They need super safe connections. And this is why I created an escape, an oasis and an opportunity to learn how to create your new internal alarm system and how to put in perimeter fencing and unshakable boundaries. And also, one thing, learning these things, but also how to implement them by doing role playing to see how these protective mechanisms would feel in your heart and in your body, and to get a glimpse of how you can recreate your life in a new way, in a way that you want and that works for you, one small step at a time. And it's really hard to do these things when you're in your everyday, day-to-day at home with all the distractions and pressure and noise. That's why I thought a retreat. If you were reading or listening to this, you are simply amazing. There is some part of you ready for change. Know you have to make that change, and that's why you've been drawn to me at this time. You have been doing the best you can with the information, the conditioning and education that you've had. But now it's time for 2.0 version of yourself. But like with any upgrade, it's essential to retain the main, beautiful and important parts of your core. But upgrading the protective internal mechanisms that were probably not there before, or even if they were there, you may not have felt confident or comfortable enough to maintain them due to others' manipulative measures. You will come to learn how to separate the real person from their position. You'll learn how to separate the type of person and their intentions from their title. And your right to being able to safely and securely open your heart to the bright, beautiful world and protect yourself from those who wish to perhaps dim your light. The key to unlocking the cage is to listen to the small, quiet voice which has been ignored for quite some time. Hearing something about someone that you may not want to hear is tough at times, but it's important to hear it. Also remember that hearing doesn't mean you have to actually do anything or act out at any point at the moment, unless of course you're in physical danger. After all, whilst we are considering opening our heart again, we must do so very, very slowly and in a protected and educated fashion. I'm all about moving at a comfortable and steady pace. Think of the tortoise and the hare story. During this retreat that I have created for you, I want you to retreat to this retreat and feel safe and connected. We will be discussing protective mechanisms and engaging in it so that one can become more comfortable in hearing one's voice and get better at establishing boundaries. It is a beautiful world out there with many natural and joyful sights and sound which your heart and soul seeks to be filled up with. Yet to exist in this fast-paced world, one has to do so realistically and intelligently. Make sure to question what you've been taught and be curious about other people and their intentions. Do not think that all people are the same way. Take time to figure out who someone is by listening to and trusting your instincts. At the retreat, this is where we will show you the practical tools and different personality types that will have a different effect on your body, mind, and spirit. You may also have some time to do some horse coach training as well, time permitting, for those who love the safe presence and company of animals. Mother Teresa was once quoted in saying that the biggest disease today is not leprosy or cancer or tuberculosis or dementia, but rather the feeling of feeling unwanted, unconnected, uncared for, and deserted by everybody. You're not going to be deserted. You're going to be embraced. My heart is now healthy, red, pumping, and open, yet fully protected. I am open to the world and the light in certain others, but I have very healthy boundaries now. Every day I ensure I take the time to listen, to stay awake, and to be aware to who is kind, caring, and compassionate, who is filled with thanks and gratitude. My heart is no longer shackled, and it is now shining. I wish the same for you, and I can help you get there. To learn more about this retreat, which starts in a few weeks' time, go to embracingemotions.com/retreat_Portugal_2023. As always, keep taking great care of yourself and to your health.
Thanks for listening to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K Laidlaw, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and rate us. If you're interested in learning more, you can download your top 5 jumpstart tips at healendometriosisnaturally.com and jump on the VIP email list. Remember to keep you number one, for the world needs a healthy you.